tonight.
Mr. Grassley.
Aye.
Mr. Cornyn.
Aye.
The Senate Judiciary Committee moves forward with the Supreme Court nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. What's next for the president's pick? Plus, the 2020 race for the White House. The candidates battle it out on the debate stage. What to expect during President Trump and Joe Biden's final showdown before Election Day. And
I think it is arranged for us to pass it before the election.
as unemployment applications drop, where things stand in terms of the next round of coronavirus relief on Capitol Hill. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. Just one more vote stands between Judge Amy Coney Barrett and a seat on the Supreme Court. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jenna Browder.
Good evening. I'm John Jessup. Judge Barrett's nomination cleared the penultimate hurdle today, with the Senate Judiciary Committee approving the president's pick to fill the seat left open by the death of the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Today, the committee's 12 GOP members were all there to vote in person in favor of Barrett's nomination, while no Democrats showed up. Senior Washington correspondent Tara Mergener is here now. Tara, the no-shows left. It didn't stop Chairman Lindsey Graham from holding the vote.
No, Jenna, they did not. In fact, Republicans powered past the Democrats' boycott of the session this morning. Her nomination is now headed to the full Senate.
12 yeas, 10 no votes.
A no-show at this morning's session.
I join with my colleagues in a great tradition of non-cooperation and boycott of these proceedings.
Democrats protest instead of voting on advancing Amy Coney Barrett's nomination for the High Court.
The Senate majority is conducting the most rushed, the most partisan, and the least legitimate process in the long history of Supreme Court nominations.
Warning Barrett's ascent to the Supreme Court would jeopardize the Affordable Care Act and access to abortion. Democrats have been unsuccessfully trying to stall the process until after the election.
The nomination will be reported favorably to the floor with a unanimous vote.
The committee's vote puts President Trump's pick one step closer to replacing liberal justice, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and locking a 6-3 conservative majority on the court.
When you look at Trump's accomplishments with the Supreme Court nominations, getting them across the finish line, along with the great economy, this is kind of the crowning jewel of it.
With Republicans holding a 53-47 majority in the Senate, Barrett is almost sure to be confirmed. Senator Lindsey Graham blames Democrats for the nomination moving forward.
In 2013, when they changed the rules to require a simple majority to pack the D.C. Circuit Court, you could see days like this coming.
And senators plan to convene a rare weekend session for procedural actions ahead of a final confirmation vote expected Monday. John and Jenna.
All right. Thank you. That's CBN's Tara Mergener. Well, to the election now. The stage is set in Nashville, Music City, as President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden face off for their final debate.
Yeah, just a few hours from now, millions are expected to tune in to see if tonight looks anything like the last chaotic debate we saw between the two. CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy joins us now. Ben, less than 2 weeks away, it is crunch time.
Yeah, Jenna, John, you're right. We'll have to see what develops in tonight's debate. It is critical for both candidates. Also, we're waiting to see if the recent developments regarding Hunter Biden does come up.
We're going to win 4 more years in the White House.
While Trump's been campaigning in key battleground states.
Thank you, Arizona.
I'm going to try very hard to focus on the issues.
Biden's been laying low off the campaign trail.
Honk if you're fired up.
Sending former President Obama to stump for him at a drive-in rally in Philadelphia.
The thing is, this is not a reality show. This is reality. And the rest of us have had to live with the consequences of him proving himself incapable of taking the job seriously.
The Presidential Debate Commission taking matters into their own hands after the chaotic first debate.
You just don't. Here's the deal. I know a lot more about this. Let him finish.
To cut down on interruptions, candidates' mics will be muted when it's not their turn during the 2 minutes provided to answer a question.
I think the mute is very unfair. And I think it's very bad that they're not talking about foreign affairs. They're supposed to be talking about foreign affairs.
He's kind of signaling that it's all going to be about personal attacks.
One issue the Trump campaign will likely hit on is recent developments regarding a laptop with questionable emails allegedly sent from Biden's son Hunter, at least one pointing to the possibility that the vice president was aware of Hunter's business dealings in Ukraine.
This is the same garbage Rudy Giuliani, Trump's henchman. It's the last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family.
A new Morning Consult poll shows Biden leading in most states, with Trump ahead in Arizona, Ohio, and South Carolina, and both candidates even among likely voters in Georgia.
Thank you, North Carolina. Go out and vote.
In-person voting has hit record numbers. So far, more than 40 million Americans have made their mark early. As for tonight's debate, it will begin in less than 3 hours. John, Jenna?
All right, Ben Kennedy, thank you very much. And Chief Political Analyst David Brody joins us now. David, what do both men need to do tonight? Joe Biden to maintain his lead in the polls and President Trump to perhaps shake up that trend?
Well, Jenna and John, Joe Biden needs to make sure he doesn't commit a major gaffe. We talked about this last debate. He didn't commit a major gaffe, pretty much because Donald Trump was talking all the time. The good news for Trump tonight is that he doesn't get to talk as much. I know that's probably not good news for him, but let's inject a little truth serum into even Trump supporters. They probably wish Donald Trump would be muted maybe 15 to 20% of the time, and that's exactly what's going to happen tonight. As for the Trump campaign, I think, or Donald Trump, what he has to do on stage tonight pretty much is talk about how Joe Biden has been in D.C. for 47 years, and he's a quintessential D.C. insider. And then he'll bring up Hunter Biden. You can be sure that's going to happen, and he'll try to tie the two together.
David, the Trump campaign wants to expand the list, tonight's list, beyond the topics that were announced to include foreign policy, to highlight some of President Trump's international accomplishments. David, some speculate it'd really be an opportunity for him to hit Biden on his son Hunter. Any chance the president will not go there?
No, I don't think it. As a matter of fact, he's definitely going to do it. I don't know if you can hear the dog in the background, but this is Skype and this is live. So what are you going to do? I'd like to tell the dog to calm down. Hold on for a second. I have no shot. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's like being at a Trump campaign rally in a way. I mean, there's a lot of noise.
We need a mute button.
Jenna's right. We need a mute button. He sounds excited about the campaign. David, while you maybe try to get your dog to mute for a little bit, the president is attacking debate host NBC's Kristen Welker. She's known as a tough questioner. Today, he also followed through and released a clip of his interview with CBS's Leslie Stahl in what they said was that contentious interview. Some say he's calling out media bias. Others say he knows attacking the media is easy fodder.
Well, he knows the attacking the media is easy fodder for sure, but this is unprecedented. I mean, really, he's actually going to release the whole interview beforehand. It's one thing to see the 60 Minutes piece and then go, wait a minute, they took that out of context. I'm going to release the whole thing. That'd be one thing, but to release it beforehand is pretty. That's pretty unprecedented for sure, but Donald Trump and unprecedented goes hand in hand. And I'd like to answer the Hunter Biden question, if you don't mind, after I was being distracted by my wonderful dog. I'll just say this. The Hunter Biden situation is going to come up quite a bit. And the key tonight is, can Donald Trump tie the corruption that Donald Trump believes that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden have been involved in to Joe Biden's 47 years in Washington? And by the way, some late breaking news, the guy that was involved in all of this, apparently in Biden world, the one that saw Hunter Biden and Joe Biden make those deals or discuss business dealings, he's going to be Donald Trump's special guest at the debate tonight. Tony Bobulinski. Sounds like a mafia guy. I'm not saying he's mafia, but it sounds like a mafia name. He's going to be one of Donald Trump's debate guests tonight. Boy, oh boy, leave it to Trump.
David, just about 30 seconds left here. Maybe a final thought on court packing. Joe Biden hasn't really answered the question on that. He's now saying he would put together a bipartisan commission to review the issue. Your thoughts?
Solves nothing at all. I mean, it's such a D.C. answer. Let's solve it by having a bipartisan commission for 180 days. Really? That doesn't solve it for conservatives. They're not buying it. And liberals don't like it because it's a punt on both sides of the equation.
All right, David Brody, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
Well, Russia and Iran are targeting American voters ahead of the election. In a last-minute briefing late Wednesday, intelligence heads warned of the new attempt in election meddling, including a widespread email spoof campaign where foreign entities claim to be members of right-wing groups and threaten to go after voters who didn't cast their ballots for President Trump.
We are not going to tolerate foreign interference in our elections or any criminal activity that threatens the sanctity of your vote.
The president has instructed.
Intelligence officials say Iran and Russia were able to target state and local election databases to obtain voter contact information, including names and addresses.
A potential stimulus deal, the latest unemployment numbers. Coming up, we're talking the American economy.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN News Watch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN News Watch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man, come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
CBN News presents an election night special with live coverage starting at 7 p.m. Get updates on the campaigns, plus analysis on the shifting balance of power. Watch on the CBN News Channel or on the CBN News app.
Welcome back. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi remains hopeful a coronavirus relief package could pass before the election. Negotiations continue between Pelosi and the White House with the possibility of a deal in the next couple of days.
Help is on the way. It will be bigger, it will be better, it will be safer, and it will be retroactive. Somebody may make a decision on their side that they don't want it before the election. I think it is arranged for us to pass it before the election. But it's not up to me to decide what the Senate does.
Despite Pelosi's optimism on a deal ahead of the election, it is unclear if it would be considered in the Senate. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's warned the White House not to strike a deal before November 3rd, adding that if a deal is made, he'd put it on the Senate floor, quote, at some point.
Meanwhile, unemployment applications are falling but still remain historically high. Data from the Labor Department today shows 787,000 sought unemployment benefits last week. That's down 842,000 the week prior. But with many states seeing a rise in coronavirus cases, some warn unemployment numbers could soon begin to increase again.
And here with us now, Mark Hamrick, Washington Bureau Chief and Senior Economic Analyst at Bankrate. Mark, it's always great to have you. Mark, how do you interpret the drop in applications the new data that's out today shows?
I think we're continuing to see an economic recovery in the U.S. The strength of that recovery is in question, and with the absence of new economic stimulus legislation, the fact that we still have coronavirus raging in many parts of the country, the recovery is a big question. And the good news is we had a pretty strong recovery in the earlier part of the year. We've recaptured about half of the 22 million jobs lost. But as of this latest count, we still had 23.1 million Americans on some form of unemployment assistance as of the latest week. So this is still historically elevated.
An unprecedented situation, an election, a pandemic. In terms of economic security, Mark, what are most Americans at this point really worried about?
So this is a topic that we actually asked Americans about by virtue of a survey at Bankrate. And we asked them sort of, well, what are you most concerned about, the outcome of the election or the pandemic? And it really turned out that those who are more economically secure are more concerned about the election outcome, and those who are not, and we would put millennials as part of that group because they tend to be more financially fragile, they're more concerned about what the pandemic may do with respect to their personal finances. And when you bring all that together, the majority of those who have a concern of one type or the other about the economic outlook say they are spending less than they would be otherwise, spending less than before. And this is one of the contributors to, I would say, stunted economic growth. Mind you, the consensus is that we will still have a contraction for the U.S. economy for all of 2020. Mind you, we still have a good part of the fourth quarter yet to go.
Interesting dichotomy that survey exposes. Mark, key negotiators are expressing cautious optimism about a potential coronavirus relief deal. With less than 2 weeks to go before the election, how likely is it that Americans will get the relief they so desperately need?
The question really, John, I think is timing, whether it will be before the election or after. And then, of course, the outcome of the election will dictate that as well as the size of the package. We had Bernie Sanders basically saying if the Democrats flip the Senate, you can count on basically a massive relief package. I would not be counting on that relief package right now. In other words, don't spend the money yet. To me, it feels as if there's just too much of a gulf between the House and the White House on one side and the Senate led by Republicans on the other.
Mark, what are some of the things, the bigger things we can expect to see in a possible deal?
Well, I think, first of all, you just want to see a continuation of elevated unemployment benefits. Remember, we had the CARES Act providing an additional $600 a week. Then the president basically approved an executive order that gave an additional $300 or $400. The payroll protection program is a key priority. People want to see, at least some people want to see, relief of the airline industry. State and local governments need money, too, but that's a priority of the Democrats, not the Republicans.
Okay, Mark Hamrick with Bankrate, thank you very much. It's good to see you.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Well, religious freedom and human rights under attack in Europe. We'll explain where and why when Faith Nation returns.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians in
Iran are
routinely arrested.
Nepali Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep,
You wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Growing calls tonight for the Catholic Church to clarify its stance on gay civil unions. This coming as a new interview features Pope Francis voicing his support for legal protection for same-sex relationships. As Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Francis endorsed civil unions for gay couples as an alternative to same-sex marriages. But yesterday was the first time we've heard such comments since Francis became Pope, and it's contrary to the Catholic Church's stance. A 2003 document from the Vatican states the Church's respect for gay people, quote, cannot lead in any way to approval of homosexual behavior or to legal recognition of homosexual unions.
Well, after months of protest in Belarus, the head of Russia's spy agency paid a surprise visit there, officially accusing foreign countries of fueling massive demonstrations against the country's authoritarian leader. The near-daily protests, with security forces often violently clashing against demonstrators, has also led to reports of human rights and religious freedom violations. CBN's George Thomas has more.
Joining me to discuss some of the religious freedom ramifications of the Belarus unrest is Commissioner Gary Barrow. Mr. Barrow, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Belarus, as you know, has been gripped by these mass protests for weeks. What's going on there politically?
Well, Belarus has been called Europe's last dictatorship, and it's a fairly apt description. There's been unrest in the country for quite some time. Basic human rights have been violated. There's been a protest movement there in the last year or so. A recent election was held. There was a great deal of expectations in the country that perhaps the incumbent government that's been violating human rights would be thrown out of office. Lo and behold, not only was it not thrown out of office, but they claimed to get 87% of the vote. That didn't pass the straight face test. Demonstrations have increased, as well as other general unrest.
Yeah. What are some of the religious freedom issues that have cropped up during the unrest?
Well, various pastors, priests, other religious leaders that have spoken out against government policies are being discriminated against. Some of them have been arrested and beaten. There are reports that in some cases Christians are being beaten on their backs so that the bruises form the sign of the cross. A Catholic priest that had been a critic of the government had a visa denied so that he couldn't re-enter his own country. There's a religious liberty law on the books it's been on the books since 2002 that already makes it almost impossible for religious groups to operate unless they get the daily blessings of the oppressive government, and that just seems to be getting worse as the public ends up reacting against the oppression that's growing in Belarus.
Yeah, and to that point, Mr. Bauer, Belarus has many of the same problematic religious regulations as other former Soviet countries like Russia and the Central Asian republics, right?
They do have all sorts of restrictions, not only very typical of the old Soviet Union, but the kind of restrictions we see in communist and atheist regimes all over the country, being required to register with the government before you can have services, the government looking over your shoulders as to what you're preaching, limiting the sizes of religious gatherings, and attempting to isolate religious groups and keeping them out of the debate that goes on in any free society about a variety of issues with moral implications.
I was there in the capital city, Minsk, Belarus, around the same time last year. These mass protests against Europe's so-called last dictatorship has apparently united the country's Christian community through prayer. Talk about the impact the evangelical community has had during these times of unrest.
Well, there's no question that evangelical leaders have been an inspiration to the people. Of course, the evangelical message of the Bible is that the world is a mirror we see through darkly. There's inevitably persecution. You need to be strong. You need to stand up against it. And that's exactly what many of the citizens of Belarus are doing, inspired by their pastors and their religious leaders to speak truth to power.
All right, terrific. We'll have to leave it there, Mr. Bao. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast.
My pleasure to be with you.
Healthy food on the go. Still ahead, how innovation is helping people in less fortunate communities.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Protect your sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
And just a quick reminder for those of you tuning into the debate tonight, you can catch the action live on the CBN News Channel. That's on our website, cbnnews.com, our app, and our YouTube channel. We, of course, hope you will join us on one of these many platforms.
Indeed. Well, finally tonight, in states across the country, you can find what are called food deserts, communities lacking adequate access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
That's what's so neat about this next story. Now, with growing food insecurity because of the pandemic, one New Jersey group is hitting the road to help. The Eat Well mobile grocery store is rolling out around cities considered food deserts in the Garden State. Inside the 40-foot retrofitted bus, it looks pretty similar, actually, to the produce aisle of a normal store. With all sorts of fruits and veggie options, the bus will stop at senior centers, low-income housing complexes, and other places where people need help.
What a neat way to solve that crisis.
John, you going to watch the debate tonight?
I certainly am, and I'll watch it on cbnnews.com.
Me too. Must-see TV.
All right. Thanks for watching, Faith Nation.
Have a great night.